Damn, my hair's getting long. Alright, I got a dance class at like 7:30 tonight. It's 3 o'clock right now, so I got time. Yeah. But I want to have some food before I do that, so I don't get gas out in the middle of it, because this is gonna be a hard class. I'm gonna get cooked, dude. Okay, I want to talk about. This is like kind of a checkpoint in my dance journey. At the time of this video, I've probably taken at least 100 dance classes. I have done over 100 dance classes. And here's what I learned. I think first of all, I want to make a general statement and say that dance classes have an extraordinarily steep learning curve. It is not fucking easy to dance well. And it's this weird thing when you go into a dance class, you're at one end of an extreme, you're at the very bottom, right? You're a beginner, you're an absolute beginner, right? For the most part, most of you out there who want to learn choreography and do them and want to do them well, when you start out, you suck, right? You're at the bottom, very like absolute beginner level. But when you walk into like even a beginner class, right? Not even intermediate or whatever. When you walk into a beginner class, you'll see the other side of the spectrum right away. You'll see people who've been doing this for like 6+ months, a year plus, multiple years even, and they'll be in the same classroom as you, and you'll see them doing groups at the end of the class, and you're automatically exposed to the other side of the spectrum. Like, what? And the thing that does for you is kind of, for me, it was like motivation or inspiration in a way. And the reason for that was because it gave me like an insight of like, oh wow, like that's what I could look like. It's like I would see people dancing really, really well in my first few classes as an absolute beginner. I'd be like, holy fuck, like that's what I could look like. Holy shit. That's the great thing about it. I think that's one of the great things about it. But it's a double-edged sword, right? It's a double-edged sword because you're reminded of how shit you are, okay? When you see someone dance really well, even if you thought you did really well in the class, you either like look at someone else, like they're doing like putting all these extra details, extra textures into their routines, or you watch yourself back after the class and it's like, oh my god, like wow, I sucked. Like that was really bad. Oh my god. Bro, I just turned off the lights and they look way better like this. So I'm gonna do this. That's kind of cooler, I guess. Yeah. But yeah, I think looking back, there are so many lessons that I've learned. I could sit here for like 6 hours and just go on and on and on about everything. Comes to mindset, comes to fitness, comes to mental health, focus, like flow state, all of these things. I want to like give out some main pointers. I'm probably gonna make a bunch more videos about the lessons I've learned, but I think one of the main things that I've learned is that when you walk into a dance class, you want to be as malleable as possible. And what that means is that you want to walk in a class almost acting like I don't care. It's like I walk in a class and it's like, whatever happens, happens. If I do well, I do well. If I fucking fail and blank out in the middle of groups at the end, then I blank out in the middle of the groups at the end. That's how it is. You're just willing to accept whatever happens. When I hate it when teachers say this, but like, yeah guys, just have fun, right? But at first, I fucking hated that piece of advice. It was like, because I sucked. Like, no one has fun when they suck, right? Like, I just want to do well. And it's like, if I do well and I put like intentional focus into like choreography and practicing outside of class and filming it and then watching myself back and getting down all the nitty gritty details and like getting all this stuff down, then I'll do well, then I'll have fun. And I don't know if that's worked. It's like I did do that, but I never had fun nor did I do well in a class from trying to do well in a class. For me, like when I performed well in a class, it was because I didn't care. To this day, like there's still like most of the time when I'm in class, I don't perform well. Yeah, it's still hard to like pick up choreography and like do the routine really well at the end. Like that's hard. Okay. So I do have, you almost gain a lot of respect for people who can do that, and it opens up your mindset. You're like, oh wow, like I have to be doing this for a long time to get that good. But yeah, you want to be as open-minded as possible so that when the choreographer or the teacher starts teaching you the routine, starts teaching you choreography, you'll be able to do it. And when you walk in, you have this mindset of, since you don't really care, it's like you'll see a move that like, oh, I've never done this before, but like you'll try and do it anyway, and you'll get it like 60% there. You're just like missing this one texture, that's it. And it's like you're close enough, but like when you're a beginner, you're so focused on specifics that you won't, like you'll spend like I remember sometimes, and I've seen other people do this, they'll be in class and they'll spend like 15 minutes like going over one move. They just can't know. They're just trying to force their body to do it, but they just can't, right? And I used to be one of those people. Sometimes I still am. And when I realized, I was like, bro, like I'm just focusing too much on this. Like I don't even care. Like I don't even care if I get it or not. I just want to like do the whole routine at like 70%. Like I don't care about being perfect. I just want to like do the moves like okay, and then I'll clean it afterwards when I practice it later, whether it be the next day or the next week or whatever. I've got like a lot of stuff here. Like another one is that dancing is sort of like writing. When you learn how to write, if any of you can remember back to when you first like try and learn how to write, it was like simple letters were like giving you trouble. Like you try and like write like an A or like a fucking M or something, and it would just take you like 2 minutes just to like write one letter. And then you'd see people write like not only letters, not only words, not only sentences, but fucking paragraphs, right, without ease. And you look at them and it's like, what? How? It's when you start out in dance, it's the same thing. You're just completely blown away by how well people can dance. And it's the same thing with writing. You're just completely blown away by how well people can write. Like they can just dominate like 7 counts of 8 just like it's nothing. Crazy. But the reason that I think back to writing is because just like I learned how to write, and like a lot of us, couldn't even write like a single letter when we first started as like toddlers. You will get there. You just have to keep going, and you have to keep practicing and keep like going through the letters and repetitions, and you have to just keep going through, and eventually you'll look back and the thing is like one day you just look up and it's like, oh, you're just writing paragraphs like it's nothing. And you'll look back and you're like, oh wow, I could barely write a letter. Now I can write whole entire fucking paragraphs. So I think that dance is the same way, is that you'll be so focused like in the moment of just like getting the next step, going to the next class. You kind of like tunnel vision that by the time you look up after like 2 years, 3 years of dancing, you'll be like, oh wow, like I could barely even like do like beginner classes. But now I can like pick up choreography really fast. I can do like most moves. I'm not like perfect or anything, but I'm way better than I was before. And if I keep doing this, I'm gonna get even better, which is how everything works. So yeah, you will get there. And yeah, that's like that's just like a nice analogy that I like to think about.